What's up, guys and gals? It's your host with the most, Griever, as always, bringing you guys the latest chapter review for One Piece. One Piece chapter 1017, The Order. Let's get underway with this one because finally Tama gives the order. Now, I think a lot of people put a little too much weight into what was the order gonna be, because realistically, if people were eating the dongos, couldn't she just give the order to each person? But then I remembered, and a lot of people were remembering, that she was having a bunch of the people she already has in control feed these things to the gifters. So she wasn't the one feeding every single person. She was just stockpiling the kibidongo constantly, and she wasn't actually the one feeding them each and every time. So she needs to give one big order, because the gifters are still, they've eaten it, but they're still under the Beast Pirates' control right now. They're still their own selves, right? So here, finally, I was very worried at the first page. And the first page, because all of a sudden she's like ready, she's on the top, she's ready to, the kid is doing it in the battlefield, she's about to, announce the order, and then Queen terrifies her to passing out. And I was just like, oh, no, don't keep delaying this, Oda. Like this has gone on long enough. I understand probably where this is going to go down, and it does. A lot of people expected that this was going to be the order, and it is, but Usopp and Nami have to rush to sort of like, come on, wake up, you have a job to do, Then we jump over to Jinbe fighting against Who's Who and a bunch of his gang now, because Jinbe takes a shot from one of Who's Who's gang, and just silently takes it and is bleeding down the side of his cheek, and he's just like, and Who's Who is just like, hey, this started as a battle of 5,000 against 30,000. We were always going to be outnumbered, yells Jinbe. It doesn't matter. I never expected you to fight me one-on-one like honorable from the start. And, because Who's laughing at him saying, oh, you're not complaining that, somebody else is interfering with our fight sort of idea? Once again, Who's Who does not seem to have the katakuri level of honor that, here against Jinbe. So, very, very interesting. Honestly, the notation, we'll get to it, but the idea that Jinbe was somehow significant in Who's Who's past, and Who's Who might be somebody more significant than we thought, who still is, but I found the reasoning about Who's Who kind of weak, and we'll get into that. The reasoning like, oh, Jinbe, I know you sort of idea. And it's sort of like there was supposed to be something in their past, and that doesn't seem to be the case. It's more about the present. So a little misleading with the whole, when Who's Who and Jinbe first met up, it was misleading that maybe 12, 15 years ago, Jinbe and Who's Who had a clash or comrades, something like that. And we always assumed it was something relevant in Jinbe's past, and really it's not. So I think that was a little misleading, and some people are going to be disappointed by that, because I found it a little odd the way it was worded that way. But either way, Jinbe says, nope, we always knew we were going to be outnumbered, and it's our job to keep you officers occupied. And I was like, all right, here we go. And Frankie's doing the same thing, having to deal with multiple people. In Arashi, of course, he's fighting against Jack, but Jack is, of course, backed up by subordinates. So we're jumping between the battlefields, and we're seeing that everybody's being overrun because, the main fights are not duels. They're not 1v1s. And that is causing significant grief on their side. So finally, after we jump back and we see all this stuff, then that's when Thomas says, all my friends who ate the kibidongo, listen up. You got to change the sides now and fight for Big Brother Luffy and Momonosuke. We need to take down Kaido. You have to help us beat Kaido. And it's just like, okay. So she finally gave the order. I'm glad it's not delayed any further. And now Tama has done her job. The gifters have all officially switched sides. So this whole smile thing is going to actually decimate the Beast Pirates. By Kaido trying to amass this army with all these fake devil fruits, now it's come back to bite him in the ass. Quite literally. The irony is not lost, and it makes total sense, right? Because it's not built on camaraderie, on trust, on anything like that, like the Straw Hats or the Whitebeard crew or Shanks' crew. It's built up let's build our numbers, and our power ranks up as fast and as quickly, and it's all about quantity first, right? So yeah, we're seeing the downfall of that sort of attitude that Kaido had. So we also see that Luffy is officially on the submarine and getting chest compressions. So hopefully Luffy will be revived very, very soon. So all of a sudden, all the gifters switch orders, and your wish is our command, master. Boom, 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 and it's like, yeah, we're gonna take down Kaido. Boom, 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 boom. So everybody's switching sides. Jack is surprised. Who's Who is pissed off. Queen is surprised. Everybody's surprised, and everybody's having a very, very difficult time. So. And even Poker here, one of Who's guys, says, Jinbe, first son of the sea. And it's sort of like, well, wait a minute now. He's not Knight of the Sea anymore. He's not son of the sea anymore. He's the helmsman of the Straw Hat crew. Because remember, that's what they call him. Jinbe, warlord and Knight of the Sea. And those titles are meaningless. I take pride in my new title, and it's the one that matters the most. Helmsman of the Straw Hat crew. You know what? Jinbe is my... Probably, Zoro's my favorite Straw Hat. I think it's Jinbe, then Luffy. Like, I love Luffy, don't get me wrong, and I love most of the Straw Hats. But Jinbe is so cool, and everything out of his mouth, he just makes every line badass. He makes everything sound amazing. Like, he's just so freaking cool. Jinbe is amazing. So, yeah, either way, so now who's pissed? Everybody's pissed. We see all the different gifters all across the place, from Udon Prison and stuff, the Scorpion guy, all these people just going nuts, just attacking, and now they've all flipped sides. Now the CP0 guys, they're going, what exactly is happening? What is going on, And it's just like, you guys think you're so freaking smart, don't you? No, you're not. No, you're not, because here we go. You didn't see this one coming, did ya, bitch? CP0 up there pretending they're like light Yagami from Death Note or some shit with an ultimate plan to get the Death Note back. And it's like, no, you're not. Sorry. You lose. So yeah, now all of Onigashima is in complete chaos. Everybody's praising them. And of course, Queen is pissed off and thinks it was the little girl, tries to fire against him. And Sanji is like, I was sort of like, where is Sanji again? I thought they were going to fight Queen, and then boom, hits Queen and stuff. And it's like, all right, so now it's going to be Queen versus Sanji like everybody sort of wants. And that's usually, the order of operations is usually Luffy takes on the captain or the strongest, Zoro takes on the second strongest, and then Sanji usually cleans up the third strongest, right? Third in command. That's usually the order of operation, hence the monster trio. And surprisingly, Jinbe is only fighting a Topi Roppo right now. That being said, Queen has taken a lot of hits and stuff too, but I don't think so is Sanji, but I honestly don't think Sanji can beat Queen. I don't know. That's not me being a Sanji hater, guys. I think there's going to be a little more... I mean, Sanji got pretty beat up, but so did Queen. Queen was fighting against Monster Point Chopper, got kicked ass by Big Mom, did this, did that. There was a lot of other things going on right there, so... potentially this is possible, and we do get confirmation that Queen is a cyborg. We see Queen's hybrid form finally, and is completely like, it's mech'd out like crazy. So Queen is actually definitely done all this, like became a cyborg just like Frankie sort of idea, right? Probably all his own designs and such. So very, very interesting, but I think something else has to happen for Queen to fall to Sanji, because it seems odd that Jinbe and Zoro, now to be fair, Zoro was a part of the rooftop gang, but didn't beat anybody necessarily, though scarred Kaido, so you could take that as a win regardless of what Sanji does. It would be very, very odd for us to jump into Wano without Zoro beating somebody stronger than like Sanji or anybody else, in all honesty. Remember that, yes, it's Luffy, he's the main character, but this is sort of, if Whole Cake was Sanji's sort of deal, then Wano is sort of Zoro's sort of deal, right? Like more so than most of the other Straw Hats. So interesting how this is going to go down. But this is my favorite part of the chapter, I would argue. My favorite part is that after they sort of talk about this, like, hey, damn it, Judge's son again. He said, stop calling me Judge's son. Were you part of his crazy research team years ago? And Queen says, oh, you mean the MADS program? That was years ago. But look at, like, yeah, so he doesn't confirm or deny he probably was a part of Judge's team at the time, but now he's gone on to bigger and better things from ages ago. That joke of an experiment, nah, I've been rising up in the world sort of idea, in my own technology. So there is that, and I really enjoy that factor. But this is where, of course, so Sanji thinks he can hold off Queen and stuff, and we'll see about that. If he does win, that's probably Sanji's last fight for Wano, I would argue, because he's not going to be able to beat Queen easily, So the best part is here, this is my favorite part of the chapter, is that Chopper, of course, used up Monster Point, used up, the Rumble Ball side effects, turned into Chibi Chopper, more so than usual, Chibi Chopper. And we have the doctors from Zoe and stuff. And now we have a drug similar to Ivankov's hormone boosters and all this crazy stuff. And once again, I would argue that Law should have been able to do something about this. I don't remember if this drug that they're talking about from Zoe was mentioned previously. What it's reminding me of is, once again, Ivankov's injections. That's what it's reminiscing me about. But we knew... I was irritated that Zoro was going to be down and out regardless of the amount of feats he pulled off, which I would argue were second only to Luffy on the rooftop. Pulled out all these crazy feats, and that's amazing, but he shouldn't be down and out first. He should not be down and out. There's still more. There's still the climax of this arc, and if Zoro's not a part of it, I would feel like that's doing us dirty, doing Zoro fans dirty. So thankfully, comes up here and says basically there's no time to debate this. This is a callback to the idea of nothing happened, I feel. Because, seriously, because he just says, you have to give it to him, you have ultra regenerative effects. But the problem, the trade-off is yes, and it only works temporarily. Hormone injections to anybody. Maybe this is Ivankov's own thing turned into, who knows. But you suffer twice as much later. But Zoro has suffered, I believe, the worst pain in the series physically. He has suffered the worst amount of pain in the series after the bark. We all know the moment. So Zoro, no matter what happens now, Zoro is not going to give a shit about this. But he is going to be down and out for a while. And usually that's what happened for most of the series, is that Arlong Park, Zoro would have beat Arlong before Luffy even needed to do anything if he wasn't so injured from his battle with Mihawk. Zoro was capable of taking down almost all... I would argue all the characters that Luffy fought and defeated in the East Blue, Zoro could have fought and beat them too, but just was injured the whole time. So it's a thing. But I love that Zoro just said the only thing that matters right now is give it to me anyways. It doesn't matter what happens later, because right now it's irrelevant. If I can't fight right now, it doesn't matter how I'm going to feel, hours from now, because it's going to be irrelevant. If I can't fight now, what's the point? And sort of okay, yes, all right. So Zoro's going to get this thing. He's going to come out of the cast. He's going to go three-sword style, and he's going to kick some ass. Maybe he's going to help Sanji take down Queen. I could see that, but I feel like Zoro being a part of the rooftop gang and then brought back down to just fighting a second-tier commander, not even king, but fighting Queen... that seems like a big downgrade for being part of the rooftop gang all the way down to fighting the third strongest in the crew. Really? That's a little bit of weak sauce right there. So probably not that. But that's my favorite part of the chapter, guys. So I had to rave about that. I love Who's blade pistol. It reminds me of the gunblade idea from Final Fantasy VIII. He seems to take this tiny little dagger, slash it, and it seems to also fire bullets at the same time. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but he calls it blade pistol. He slashes forward, and it seems like bullets come out of the slash. So very, very interesting. He's got this big scabbard and this tiny little blade, and that's what he does it with. But either way, Jinbe's not intimidated. Fisherman karate, and then Who starts using Tempest Kick and Iron Body and such, and says, Jinbe's he hockeys up, and he goes, those are the 6 powers that the CP uses, the government agents use. And I've heard about a member of the secret government agency CP9 who escaped from jail. Seems like that, in the prison, and Who turns into hybrid form and goes, I can't believe you remember a story from that long ago, but that's right, it was me, I did that, and I happen to like what I am now, but I went through hell all because of one single little mistake 12 years ago. And they used to say that I had just as much. I was a rival to the genius of CP9, Rob Damn Lucci. So Who is on the level of Rob Lucci, roughly. That's what we're getting from this. But Jinbe does not seem, now that it's a one-on-one fight, Jinbe does not seem to be pushed. And I wouldn't argue that it would be, because I still argue that now Sanji has been replaced as third strongest on the Straw Hat crew by Jinbe. Jinbe is not weaker than Sanji. I just don't see it. So, so this is going to be one hell of a fight. And for all we know, once again, the Topiropo is sort of like Yonko Commander. The Topiropo is a group of the strongest, but look at the difference between X-Drake and Page 1, and I would argue Who's Who or Sasaki compared to the other. You know what I mean? Like, they're not necessarily one. Like, Page 1 is definitely the weakest, I would argue. Who's Who is on another level, I would argue, right? So, anyways, that being said, Jinbe recognizes that he's never seen the way he's using the 6 powers before. He uses this ability called Fang Pistol and stuff. Very, very strange. And this is where, as I said, this is the end of the chapter, but this is where it's going to rub people sometime the wrong way. He said, I pity you. And Jinbe goes, oh, so you were that rogue agent that escaped jail. It's like, I pity you, but I had nothing to do with that. And Who's Who says basically, that's where you're wrong. Remember what you said with such pride? I am now the helmsman of the Straw Hat crew. You said it so proudly. The mention of that name brings back my bitter past. 12 years ago, a devil fruit was stolen from a government ship. By Shanks, we know. And when Straw Hat Luffy appeared 2 years ago, I was shocked to learn the truth. The Straw Hat had eaten the Gumma Gumma no Mi that was stolen from that ship. And clearly, he was probably in charge of the ship. Shanks attacked him, whatever. He was supposed to guard the Gumma Gumma no Mi. Now, a lot of people have said the Gumma Gumma no Mi was Roger's fruit, but I don't believe that's the case. I still don't believe that Roger had a devil fruit. But that was a theory for an extraordinary long time. That the Gumma Gumma no Mi was special. Why did Shanks have it, etc., etc. The thing is that why did the government find the Gumma Gumma no Mi so... People are going to... All right, here's the 2 problems with this. Number 1... A lot of fans are going to look at this and they're going to say the Gumma Gumma no Mi must have been extremely special then, right? It must be important. It had something to do with Yim-sama. It must have something to do with the Void Century. The Gumma Gumma no Mi must be way more OP than we've ever thought possible. No, I'm going to go on a limb and say that's not accurate. People are going to say that, but I'm going to say no to that theory. What I'm going to say is that one CP9 agent was sent to guard a devil fruit that they managed to find. And at the time, 12 years ago, devil fruits were probably a lot harder to come by. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Akainu, Aokiji, and Kizaru didn't just happen to stumble upon their fruits as children, eat them, and then just happen to decide to join the world, become admirals. You know, that's not really the way it worked. I'm quite confident, as we've seen previously, this is what happens in the Marines. They have a stockpile of devil fruits, and they reward powerful Marines with the option of devil fruits. Did it happen with CP9 and stuff? It's like, hey, we don't necessarily know what these ones do, but devil fruits, power, etc., etc. Let's add them to our arsenal of our strength and increase our strength and power. So I am under the impression that Who's Who was the CP9 agent. He was on the government ship. Back in the day, 12 years ago, devil fruits were probably more scarce, and he was trying to deliver one to the world government, and it got stolen. And that was probably, he made a mistake or whatever. Maybe the Gumma Gumma no Mi is more important, but I just don't see it. I just don't see it because that would be a little bit Chosen One Harry Potter shit going on, a little bit with Luffy. Luffy's got some lineage, he's got the Conqueror's Haki, sure, but still, the end of the day, the genes and stuff was Ace's thing, that was the thing, and things like that. So right now, honestly, I'm going to go off on a limb and just say the Gumma Gumma no Mi had no significance other than being a devil fruit that the government wanted. They had it in their possession, and he fucked up and lost it to a pirate. And that was his mistake. And so ever since then, now Who's Who has been holding a grudge against the Straw Hats. The second problem coming up with this is what I talked about before, is the fact that the way it was worded before implies that Jinbe was at fault 12 years ago. Something happened 12 years ago, and Jinbe was directly or indirectly a cause of it, and Who's Who blames Jinbe for it. But that doesn't seem to be the case. It's literally, so he would have no grudge against Jinbe had Jinbe not joined the crew 5 fucking days ago. Seriously, that's his logic. So it's sort of weak, honestly. It's a weak reasoning. We were building up this whole a pass between Who's Who and who is Who's Who, sort of idea. Who is he to Jinbe? What did Jinbe do to him back in the day? And it's nothing. It's just, oh, you're part of the Straw Hat crew, so I must destroy you. We've seen that before, and it's just kind of, I think we didn't expect that. I think people are going to more focus on the fact that he was supposed to guard the Gumma Gumma no Mi, and a lot of people are going to be excited about that. And I'm excited about it too. I just don't think it's going to be as super important or relevant as people make it out to be. I think he was just supposed to deliver to Vegapunk, to the world government, and he got bombarded by pirates, and instead of winning, he lost. So he was dishonorably discharged, lost in disgrace, something like that. Who knows? Who knows the details of what happened? We'll probably find out later. But I'm assuming he was just in charge of getting it from A to B, and he fucked up, right? Because Shanks either intercepted or whatever happened. Maybe something happened. Maybe he chose to engage Shanks. That could be it. Shanks didn't go out of his way to attack them, and he was on his way, but Who's Who, being prideful, said, a chance to take down that up-and-coming guy, from 12, the guy who they say is going to be a Yonko someday, because he was not a Yonko 12 years ago. We know that. So he's like, but that upstart, he was one of Rogers, his Shanks, he's got a huge bounty, we should take him down. And instead of following his orders and continuing to go to Marijois or whatever with the Devil Fruit, he chose to engage Shanks in a losing battle and ended up not only losing the ship and his crew, but he ended up losing the Devil Fruit. And that's why he was sent to prison, because he made a bad judgment call or something. I could see that. The world government are not exactly nice people. So I could see that. That's most likely, I think, what happened. And the Gumma Gumma no Mi is nothing necessarily overly special compared to any other Devil Fruit. So, but what are your guys' theories? Let me know down in the comment section down below. So like, comment, subscribe, guys. This was a very good chapter. I very much enjoyed it. And the fact that Zoro is going to jump back into the fray for the end of the arc, I'm really happy about that. I was very disappointed that he was out, regardless of his feats. But he's back, and I'm happy, or he's going to be back. He's going to be in full power again for a temporary, boost, just like Luffy was at Marineford. It's going to be fantastic. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, and subscribe as always. And don't forget to, of course, drink responsibly, as always, as I always do. And we will see you guys back here again next time. Peace out.